people think there are white racists? That there are white racists out there? How many think there are black racists
Let's
out
talk
there?
about the elephant in the room.
Okay. Now,
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
this is an interesting thing because this becomes important as we begin to define concepts. Now, I do that. I usually define concepts all the way. But one of the things that I do is I try to help people get a picture of what I mean by racism. So tell me how it is. The first category is white racism, then we'll deal with black racism. So white racism. Tell me the ways in which white racism adversely impacts the lives of black people. Just what are the ways that white racism can adversely impact the lives of black people as a group? What are some of those ways? I'm sorry? Power, but how is that defined specifically? Education, okay. I'm sorry? Economically, employment. What else? Housing. What else? Policing. Why are we here today? Healthcare, okay. Now, we could actually kind of grow that list. Now we're going to move over to black racism. Tell me the ways in which black racism adversely impacts the lives of white people as an entire group. Thank you. The reason why you become silent, there's one that always comes up, and that's fear. White people are afraid of black people. They are afraid of us. And it's a very interesting thing because black people know it. We know white people are afraid. But you have to start getting into the psychology. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? But it's an interesting dynamic. Now, also you see the difference in what racism is, do you not? Racism implies you have not just prejudice, but the power to do something with that prejudice. Now, I don't like you, not only that, but I'm going to control whether you can get, I may say I hate you. I hate white people. I hate them. It's not going to change you getting that, loan when you go to the bank. I can hate you all the way to the bank. Not going to change. Do you see the difference? That whereas white racism says, not only do I not like you, but I'm going to change the impact of where you can live. I'm going to determine with that racism where your powers are. You following me? And I'm talking about as a group, not an individual, because people said, I remember when my uncle didn't. I'm not talking about your uncle. I'm talking about the whole group. I'm not talking about an incident. How many people think there are?
Treating whites differently due to the color of their skin is textbook racism. But ignore me, I'm just a stupid white girl, right? Okay, thanks, bye.
This is Jade.
Oh, you want to talk about fatigue?
And she's an immigrant from Wales. My name is Therese Garnier, and I'm an independent journalist. And I make videos based on facts, not racism.
White guilt and colonizer guilt destroys civilizations.
She likes acting and playing with guns in pretend combat scenarios. I also like playing with pew-pews, minus the acting, of course. She also openly claims that she's a racist and believes that colonization is great.
Less awful acts were committed during colonization, but objectively you have to respect the growth for humanity. So if you want to complain about those things, go back to living in mud huts.
Not only does she feel blacks should go back to huts, but also that they're crime-ridden and...
Between 47 and 50% of African American children grow up without a father.
Just so you know, since you're not from here, the percentage of children with black fathers in homes is at its highest since 1989 at 75.9%. But to your false talking point, for some reason, that sounds really familiar.
Staying in jobs.
The usual suspects.
Father-filled households.
Because getting a job is just out of the question.
Jade Warwick and Megan Hudchick. Y'all are really alike, lips and all. The only difference is that Jade was actually an actress and Megan is actually an American.
Hi, I'm a British-born woman who's now banned from going back to the UK.
Lord have mercy, talk about Karen fatigue.
Hollywood has brainwashed Caucasians into believing that they are an inferior race.
American first, right? Or would that be Wales first? I'm a little confused.
Strong men are crucial to a child's development.
Is that why 56.9% of mass shootings in the U.S. are by white men or children? Must be those strong fathers in those households, right?
Ooh, but white pride, yeah, that's not okay.
But since you want to talk about us as a non-American, let's talk about some instances of white crime. Based on my research, you can't even go back home because you would be arrested. Did I get that part correct?
Well, I've broken several UK speech laws.
So if you were to fly there right now, you would be promptly arrested, or?
By the way, did you know that here in America, it's very frowned upon to have a business registered that has since been dissolved that you're still making money from?
Go grab yourself some white excellence merch on my store.
So let me help you out a little bit.
Or how about you stop telling white people that they are inherently evil and born racist?
Here in America, we call that operating without proper authorization or misrepresentation of business status. For someone who's so opinionated, you don't seem to care that you have a lot to lose, especially if you get deported back to your home country. But I guess white privilege works everywhere, not just in the US. Okay, thanks. Bye.
I always find it funny that the people who complain that we make everything about race do things like make pages dedicated to hate us. I was casually scrolling through Facebook and I discovered a page called In Fatigue. And In Fatigue decided to make a post that says, what are some of the best names you can call them, aside from N? Jaron Vining wrote, Watermelon Felons. And just so you guys know, this guy worked in the police department. So we're dealing with people like that. Lionel A. West, Moon Crickets. That's a classic one. And then we had Gary Humphrey, Hellcat enthusiast that settled for an Altima instead. All right, next we have John Gilligan, Hard R's, Sheboons, Bonnet Chimps. Adam Campbell wrote North American Ground Ape. All right, Paul Rode, Pickaninny, making a comeback. All right, next Samantha Conley wrote, my grandmother still refers to them as the slaves. And then someone wrote, should be. And then she wrote back, agreed. So she thinks that we should still be slaves. Melissa Cameron wrote, watermelon eating, seed splitting, chicken eating, finger licking, porch monkeys. Okay, and not surprised she looks like that. Marcus Roy, blue gums, spear chunkers. Great. Bob Woods, bonnet bandits. Hilarious, right? Again, the people who claim that we make everything about race seem to be obsessed with us, where they have literally pages dedicated to hating us, but then they'll say that racism doesn't exist and you guys are being dramatic, and they do stuff like this. So don't let them gaslight you. It's everywhere and it's more people than you think.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Today's Mayflower Marshal goes by the name of Erin Michelle Blanc, out in Ridgeville, Indiana, and is also a registered nurse. And this all starts underneath Mrs. Aaliyah Walker's post. Now, Aaliyah simply made a post showing off her beauty to the world on Facebook, as people do. Here comes this bucket of concrete built body methamphetamine saying, LOL, you look like a blank. And it ended up moving to the DM. You can see down here she has a very colorful vocabulary, which she continues up here. I ain't gonna lie, call her Miss Piggy. It's crazy work, but it's accurate. Anyway, she goes on to say she got the cops involved because, of course, she went viral on Facebook. And we don't want her to lose her job. We need her to lose her license. Can you imagine how many black people she probably mistreats as a registered nurse? Remember a while back when I made a video saying they be the police, doctors, nurse, firefighters, etc., etc.? These are the LED amphibians I'm talking about. Feel like you stole your legs from someone else. Body built like a push pop. They say you look like fine china. They mean the cabinet, the china cabinet. I saw this haircut and it all made sense. Aaron Fade with the racism highlights. Like you smell like wet potato wedges. Look like an intrusive thought. Built like, wait. Built like bad breath, chronic joint pain. If they ever make a live action of this movie, it's gonna be the first thing. This is what I imagine is in the sink when I touch something while washing the dishes. Definitely rub your coochie across carpet when it's itchy. The bold edition of ginger ale. How does your forehead look detachable? And that tooth that's trying to get away. I can't get over this picture. I swear you got your legs from the flea market. Real no, her license doesn't.
Are we on? All right. All right. Gotta put the sprinkles on. All right. Hey guys, what's going on, man? It's yet another episode of the Can We Be Frank show. We got special guests in. We got people coming back to the fold. We got all kind of stuff going on. I do want to offer condolences to various people that watch this show. They know who they are. I don't want to, I also want to extend happy birthday wishes out to our birthday people that watch the show. Happy birthday, you guys. We got a lot to catch up on. There's a lot of work to do still. We did end the other show going over the forum, the mayor's forum from the realtors, whatever that was. We'll get back to that. In the meantime, in between time, we gotta keep going with the news. There is more news. We got Mr. Porter on tonight, right? We got Mr. Porter, all right. Give it up. All right, there we go. All right. We got Miss Alita. She's here for some reason. All right. And we got Miss Finley. She's here. And I guess I'm here. And let me see. I think I got one more. I got one more piece of media for you peoples.
Play stupid games when.
Not that one. I've been collecting these videos about these folks that keep making these same mistakes. And they call them mayonnaise rangers. They got a ton of names for them, but I'd rather not call them names, right? I'd rather just on their face. What else is there? You know what? Yeah, we'll skip past that part for right now. All the rest of the stuff that I got is a little bit too graphic and violent. Anyway, so I know we talk about the Carmelo Anthony case from time to time, just to give the people that may not follow it as closely as I do, just to give y'all an update. This all-star team of legal Eagles have been assembled on behalf of this young man's appeal. If you're out there engaging in conversations with folks, let this be the dividing line between you and a lot of people. All right. This case is clearly about self-defense. Anybody standing on the other side of this case that are against the young man, Carmelo Anthony, is listen, at this point, they are willingly racist. They are knowingly racist. They do not expect Black people to be able to use self-defense as a legal plea, they don't see Black people being able to use self-defense as a right. They just, they feel, but in spite of that, there has been an assemblage of this super legal team that includes people from Ben Crump's office, and it's at least 6 different law firms involved in this right now. So if y'all think that Carmelo isn't coming home, you got another thing coming, because I know for a fact all these people would not be choosing now to get involved for the sake of losing. So there's that sprinkle of hope, the silver lining, and I do feel that they're going to exonerate the young man because he deserves it. Self-defense isn't a crime, and that's that. So that being said, I wanted to go around the horn and pull up the chat. Let me get all this other stuff going. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Wait, no, not that. This one. There we go. All right. Okay. Let me see. Where do we want to start? Miss Alita, do you have anything? I'll go down the list. Do you have anything pertinent you want to add?
No, sir. But I do want to say welcome, Mr. Porter back, to the crew. It's been a minute, a small minute.
He never left.
Yeah, I know. He's a very busy man.
Yeah, well,
He's a very important man.
yeah.
Let me get that out there. He's a very important man.
All right.
I think that's it for right now until you get in, you know me.
Nah,
Till you get into the conversation.
I don't know you that well. Miss
Okay. So wait a minute. Wait, I got a question real quick.
No, you're done.
I got a question. Can I have a question, sir? Please. Look. So are you going to continue with that forum or that information? The debate that was going on?
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
get Mr. Porter because he's it's getting late.
Yeah.
It's getting
He
late.
can't be up real late.
I don't want to keep him up that late.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to keep anybody up that late. But if I'm giving you good information, you need to be paying attention. That's why I'm glad that people watch us going to sleep and then they watch us going to work, right? Because they can just keep watching the show, and we get into people's subconscious.
Okay.
If they watch us going to sleep, we're definitely in your they can definitely hear my voice in their subconscious.
Oh my God, what a terrible thing to know.
Listen. Finley, do you have anything? Are you just up here? Just up here? Yeah, you just up here. Mr. Porter, the star of the show. Let me go ahead and put him on. All right.
Hey, everybody. So I took the opportunity to go to the presentation that Applied Digital held tonight in Boyce. It was packed. I mean, people from all over Rapides Parish came there to that meeting. And I just want to give you some of the highlights there. This company, Applied Digital, they started up in 2021, so they're only 5 years old. They are in the stock market, so I checked their stock price. It was about $45 today. It's been on the rise. They have several AI centers, data centers throughout the United States, and they're building more. So for the one we were attending tonight is called the Delta Forge platform, and it's abbreviated DF1 because there is a DF2, but the DF2 location has not been identified. So this company came to Alexandria because they were looking for a place to put a large data center. They chose Boyce for several reasons. One of the reasons is that there was available electrical power. And I'll come back and tell you why there was available electrical power. There was plenty of land. So this company purchased 670 acres of land. Now, it was questionable as to whether they purchased it or leased it, because one of their, on their website, it showed that they have 3 5-year options to lease the property, And so right now they have a base lease that could extend up to 15 years. So the first lease is for 5 years. They could extend it for 5 years, and they can extend it for another 5 years. Now, that 15-year is important, and I don't want to jump too far ahead and get off track. But keep that in your mind. They have a 15-year lease on what used to be farmland, and it's right in Boyce on the side of I-49. The other thing is there's fiber optics availability there. I was surprised at that, but it is there. And there is the interstate system that's real close, I-49. So, and also there's water, okay? So these were some very positive reasons for them to locate in the area where they are. All right, so this is what Applied Digital does. As I mentioned, they're only 5 years old, but they design, build, operate these high-performance data centers for co-location services they provide to various companies, artificial intelligence, for networking, for cloud storage, for blockchain workloads, and hyperscale functions. So there's quite a few things that they use their data centers to do. The big issue with the data center is, what is the impact going to be on the local community? Because the data centers require electricity, and that could drive the cost of electricity up for the local residents. Data centers require a lot of cooling, because as you're using all of this electricity, running it through these CPUs and GPUs, it generates a lot of heat. So you have to keep the place cool so that the circuits don't fail. If they get too hot, they fail. So there's a lot of water that's required for cooling. And then the question is, what do you do with the water? Do you put it back into where you got it from? Where are you going to get the water? So there's issues there. There's a lot of mechanical equipment required for the operation of a data center. So this mechanical equipment makes a lot of noise. So it ends up being a noise pollution problem, or a noise nuisance type problem. And then the question was, what kind of jobs will it bring, and what does it pay, and how long will it be there? Okay, so people came from all over the parish to attend this meeting. There was a lot of folks there. Folks got in line to ask questions. So the presentation, and I had a bunch of questions. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I had a ton of questions before I got there. I had already looked at their website to try and get as many answers to my questions before I got there. But pretty much they answered most of them. So I wanted to know how much electricity is required for this particular system. Now, the system they're putting in Boyce is going to be 300 megawatts of IT capacity. All right. Now, that 300 megawatts of IT capacity is going to require 430 megawatts of energy. So that's how much electricity that unit will draw. Now, the source of the electricity, that was another question, and that was answered, is CLECO. CLECO has 25% excess capacity. Now, the reason CLECO has excess capacity is because some other clients of CLECO, they did not renew their contracts with CLECO. So CLECO had all this spare generating capacity. That's what was attractive to Applied Digital. And Applied Digital is going to use up that extra 25%. So CLECO representatives there was saying any new infrastructure, electrical infrastructure that's required, Applied Digital has agreed to pick up the cost of that so they don't have to pass that on to the CLECO customers. And it's not like they're using up the CLECO capacity and have to go on the and buy electricity from the market off the grid, which is a higher cost. So that won't be a problem either. Now that's from CLECO. So the point there is that because of the excess or surplus capacity CLECO has due to the loss of other contracts, Applied Digital will fill that gap, so they'll be right back to where they were. Any infrastructure that's needed to get, and they said what it was, it's these 230 kilovolt transmission feeders to that location that Applied Digital will pay for all of that. All right. So the water, the cooling was the big issue. The water, what kind of stress would that put on their system? So one of my questions, and they answered that in their presentation, or other people got up and asked these questions. And so that's how a lot of my answers came. A lot of people had the same questions I had. So this particular system, this 300 megawatt IT data center, will require 800,000 gallons of water. Now, I was particularly interested in where that water's coming from, because we heard Jack Roy allude to Alexandria has a lot of water from the wells in the Kisatchie Forest, and that we could sell that water to them and all that stuff. Okay. Well, this is what we found out tonight. The water that they need, 800,000 gallons, that's pretty much one time they fill their entire system. Their system is a closed loop system. So the only water they'll need after initial filling of their closed loop water system, that's the only additional water they'll need. And that just depends if they have leakage, if there's evaporation somewhere or whatever that requires them to top it off. And that's the word they use, top it off. So the water, they stated they need highly purified water. They cannot have any solids in that water. I suspected as much, having worked in chemical processing plants where we use water to go through heat exchangers to remove heat from our chemical processes. And if you have sediment and things in that water, it collects inside of your tubes. It plugs your tubes or reduces the heat transfer, and your processes don't work as well. I figured they were going to need something similar to that, very highly filtered water. But in this case, they need better than filtered water. They need purified water. So they mentioned that if they cannot get purified water, what they will do, they will look at, since they need that first 800,000 amount of water, they'll look at either bringing in a system that can purify that water for them, or finding a company that can do it and actually trucking that water in. Now we're talking about 800,000 gallons. Now some of these big trucks, and Nat can tell you, they can hold maybe 8,000 gallons of water. So my goodness, you're talking about 100 trucks just to fill up their system, just to get started. So we'll see what that'll do. But now the source of the water, because other locales just don't have 800,000 gallons of water that they could just provide to them, and the water we have is not highly purified. So look, that knocks Alexandria out right away, right? If you need highly purified water, this brown water ain't going to cut it for them. They can't use that. So what's going to happen, they're likely to bring that in, or they'll bring a system in and take the water out of the Red River. Now, they'll need permits to do that. Right now, the water that they're using to do their foundation and cement and stuff like that, that water when they're finished with it, it goes into a canal, and then that canal goes into Bayou Bertrand, and Bayou Bertrand dumps into the Red River. So there are some permit issues there, and residents were bringing that up, mentioning that the work that's going on right now just to clear the land and put the foundation down, that the water they're using is running off into the ditch, and from the ditch to the bayou, and from the bayou to the Red River. And so there's some issues with the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, because the permits don't allow them to discharge the water into those systems like that. So that's a issue right now. We talked about the sound, how much sound from these this equipment, and they Applied Digital will do a sound audit to see what the normal sound is. They're right on the side of Highway 49, Interstate 49. So there's some sound there, and whatever sound from the rest of the area. And then they'll do a sound audit once their unit is up and running, and they will do things to attenuate the sound. So my question to them was, could they provide a radius of where the sound level exceeds 85 decibels? Usually that's where you require hearing protection if you're in a workplace. Now, they have not done that, and I'm surprised. But, okay, so they also mentioned that DF2, so what's going in Boyce is DF1. DF2, they have not determined where that location is going to be. Now, DF1 is on 672 acres, and the facility that's being constructed now will take up about 300 acres. That's how big this thing is. And right now, they're not planning on, they haven't stated if they're going to construct DF2 on the other 472 acres that they have out there, or if they're going to place it somewhere else. And tonight, I think a guy made a Freudian slip. He stated that DF2 won't even be in Louisiana. So we don't know where that second one's going to be. They insisted that this particular data center will require 200 persons full-time. Now, this is under what's called a pilot agreement. And in the pilot agreement, I think the pilot agreement is for 2 years or so. I forget. We're going to have to look that up. And so instead of paying taxes, this pilot agreement has service fees, application fees, administrative fees. They got a host of fees, and Applied Digital will pay these fees instead of paying taxes. Now, these fees, as I understood it tonight, will actually be paid to the England Airport Authority, because for some reason, England Airport Authority ended up with jurisdiction over this particular project. I don't believe it's on their property, but for some way it was done that way. The folks that attended this tonight, a lot of them came there well prepared. They had the filings that were submitted to the state. They found out that Applied Digital isn't even registered in Louisiana. They found out that there were 2 non-disclosure agreements that local authorities had signed, entered into with Applied Digital. There was only one, I should say there were 3 elected officials there. The mayor of Boyce did a talk, but then I think he left. There was another person, and I didn't catch her name. And then there was one of the police jurors there. But that was it. There were no other elected officials there. Let me back up, because Sandra Franklin was there, and she's on the school board. So it was mostly residents, concerned residents. The ones that got up to speak, they were well prepared. They had documents in hand. They wanted to know who signed these non-disclosure agreements and why a lot of that information could not be shared with the public. These jobs, these 200 jobs, they said they were going to hire from Rapides Parish, but we have to look at the fine print, because they did not list those jobs on their website or the requirements. But they mentioned it would be a combination of electricians, mechanics, repair persons, technicians, but they didn't say exactly what the requirements were, what certifications you need, what experience level they're looking for, things like that. So it's unlikely that they're going to find those persons in Rapides Parish. So these 200 jobs are likely to be filled from outside of the parish. But they insisted that they're looking to hire the people in Rapides Parish. And he also stated that the salaries, the average salaries, would be 150% above the Louisiana state average salary. So we'll see how that works out. And let's see what else. I think those were the big highlights there. And I was in line for a long time just to ask a question. And when I left, people were still in line. So, and folks were upset. They didn't like this at all. So there it is. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to see if I can share what I know or what I got from there with you. If not, that's the update. That's the situation.
That was quite the presentation, Mr. Porter. Yeah, thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Doing the work, right? Showing up when it matters, asking the questions that count. Yeah. So
Those data centers, we were talking earlier, and those data centers have been a thorn in American people's side ever since they've been. I think what happened, this is what I think where they came from. I think this was already in the making. They just had to figure out where they were going to do the destruction. That's all. I think someone had already sat down at a table and come together with a whole bunch of other people, corporations who have money like this to throw around and do this with. And I think that they got together and made a decision to do this. And like Mr. Porter was saying, look at the areas that they're putting them in. And if you think about the way manufacturing works and how factories go, and they go to the areas where there's poor people, there's an ideal that the interstate has ripped through a community. Those are the places that they always stick things like this. And then you got to look at the rural areas too. And they have this impression about common people or marginalized or poor people that they're not educated and that they're not going to be educated on some things. So that's the ones that they take advantage of. We don't see it as taken advantage of, but that's really what it is, because they don't think that we're going to pay attention and go and do the research to find out what these data centers are really doing. That's happened. You take a town that don't have jobs in it. What does they do? What majority of the time, what do? They get a manufacturing company to come in, even though that manufacturing company has poisonous gas, the chemicals they use, the whole 9 yards, and they sit it right in the middle of a poor city or a poor community and make their millions. And when they're tired of it, they pack it up and leave a lot of areas desolate. You look at the car factories, look at how the automotive factory did Michigan. Came in poor areas, got the money. I mean, made the money. But when it was time for them to pack it up and leave out, they left out and leave these small towns in this turmoil all the time. So the issue is, well, it's not really an issue whether or not they're going to stay. Is there any longevity in their ideal of being here? You know what I'm saying? Because those 200 quote unquote jobs, even if they hire one or two people, that's one or two people that are only going to be working for so long. If they decide to let them go and close down shop and move it somewhere else, because that's mainly what we do to our own people. There's something to think about, even though that's further, in the future, but that's something to think about. I mean, it seems like it's just a pattern when it comes to America, and the way it does with their relationship with corporate America is when they get tired, they got the money to pack up and leave, and they leave these cities and crumble, leave them with nothing. And it's sad that happens, but that's the reality of it all. And the people have a right to be concerned. I yield back.
And an important thing here, this first agreement is what's referred to as a pilot agreement. So there is a expiration date on that pilot agreement. And in that agreement, that's where the 200 jobs are part of that agreement. But when it expires, they don't have to continue maintaining 200 people at that facility. And then the lease that they have is a 5-year base lease with an option to extend the lease 5 years, and you have two options. So they could, under the current lease, operate that facility for 15 years. So it's not clear if they actually purchased the land or if it's an option to lease. They're leasing with an option to purchase. That wasn't actually explained very clearly. But you're absolutely right. So when this pilot contract agreement expires, they don't have to maintain 200 workers there. And some of these facilities only have 10 people on a shift. That's how labor unintensive these data centers are. They just require mechanics to fix the equipment, the cooling system, the pumps, the blowers, the circulation systems like that. That's what they need people for. Everything else is done robotically or through AI.
Welcome to the future. It reminds me of how Royal Martin came in through down Lower Third, and how they got sued, and that's why they changed the name to Stella Jones, because the original name of the original company that was there was sued, I believe. And in that lawsuit, they end up having to shut down, but I believe they reopened up under Stella Jones, which that's over there in Cancer Alley for those of y'all that never heard of it. So these companies do come into our communities, and only our communities. Look where they put the wastewater facility. They didn't put that in District 4 or 5. They added Johnny Downs into District 1. You think that they couldn't have added the wastewater facility treatment place somewhere else while they was moving people around? No, they left it in District 3. Matter of fact, they put it in District 3. If you walk through the woods of Franco Hunter, you'd end up on the backside of that wastewater facility treatment. So they put our public parks right, and y'all, like, never mind.
But look, on that same topic, there is a proposal, a capital project proposal to build a new water plant and sewage plant, what they're calling a lift station, out along Highway 28 to handle all of that growth that's District 5 area. And if they get that, I'm pretty sure that's going to end up leading to another town of St. George scenario, where they will split, because they'll have all of the infrastructure they'll need, a new water plant and a new sewage plant. Now the question is, how far out do they go and put it so that it's not close to the residential areas, But there is a proposal, capital projects to do that. New water plant, new sewage treatment plant.
Okay. Now, this advantageous expansion, how are we looking to regain the funding for the expenditure?
That is to be determined. Absolutely.
Oh, come on. You got the idea, don't know how we're gonna get the money back?
Just like with this Reignite program, $80 to $100 million, there was no cost benefit analysis submitted to the city council members. What are we going to get for that $100 million? How much revenue will we generate? And where are we going to get the money to pay the interest on these bonds that the mayor wants to go out and get to finance the Reignite program. None of those questions have been asked.
Sounds like he's going to take it out of y'all asses.
Yeah, but look, none of those questions have been posed to the mayor. And of course, with those questions not being posed, there are no answers.
There are no answers.
Right.
You don't need answers to a question that they don't ask. You don't want to oversell the head. Yeah, don't oversell it.
And the mayor's not going to offer any answers to that. She's not going to ever bring it up.
Damn.
And Mr. Brown, as did Union Tank, ever meet their hiring goals that they projected? No, they never did. Never did. And neither did Bayou Steel either. So that's what corporations do. They come in with these lofty projections of what their economic impact will be, how many jobs, and what those jobs would pay, and they never come to fruition. They never bear out what those projections were. That was just the bait to get the municipalities, the parishes, to offer incentives for them to come, and they never meet what they projected. Never.
It was damn trickery and deception is what it is. Damn trickery and deception. I'm talking about tricks and deceiving people, telling them that they can do something that they can't. Man, oh man. That's cold-blooded right there. I don't know. If anybody got any more questions, Mr. Porter did do the research, does have the info before we change topics or get into anything else. Now, I'll watch the chat. Mr. Porter, myself and Miss Alita, and I think Miss Shamir to an extent, we've all been following this Carmelo Anthony case. Have you been following it?
Yeah, somewhat, not very intently, but I have been reading the headlines and things about it when something new is brought up. But I'm not really familiar with the details.
All right. This young man was wrongfully convicted on a murder charge after a self-defense issue where he was assaulted at a track meet, and the person that assaulted him ended up dying from a stab wound to the chest. But again, as we all like to say when it comes to black folks, when you do the crime, you got to end up doing the time, and his time came up pretty quick because assaulting somebody is a criminal offense, right? But the young man has been pictured and painted as a monster, when in reality, he was just a kid defending himself. So wrongfully convicted. The trial was a kangaroo court trial. It was definitely, the fix was in. I don't know how else to explain it. The judge was in on it. Some people even believe that his own defense was in on it. You know, you got people like Charleston White jumping in and gaining monetary value off of this case and playing both sides. like this case has really exposed people for what they always believe. And I really do believe that this case should be the dividing line between people that say they are allies, the ones that say and do all the things that make them look as though they're aligned with your values. A lot of them really don't. And this case has been exposed, right? And uh, I'm glad for that, because you do need to know who is actually on your side, right? And a lot of people don't get past the part of this being a black young man, Carmelo Anthony, and this white young thug who had a twin brother basically go and assault this one person. At least just them two. From the video, it looks like way more, right? And I don't really want to turn this show into. I don't want to, because there's a lot of analysis podcasts out there that are going through that video with a fine tooth comb, and they're all saying and seeing the same thing that we always said from the beginning, that he was assaulted, right? And so, when you're being assaulted in some states, the law says you can do various things to get out of it. And what he did was one of those various things, which means that he was lawfully allowed to do exactly what he was able to do when he was in that situation. Now, the question is, do those laws only apply to a certain group of people? I ain't gonna say white folks, because I guess some black folks can use it, but in this case, for all intents and purposes, this stand your ground, self-defense, anything claiming your bodily autonomy as a black person is illegal to them. And so this is where we are. As I said in the beginning, since this conviction, there have been a lot of talks about who was going to handle the appeals case. Temporarily, there was a public defender that was handling the appeals case, a court-appointed attorney. And then out of nowhere, yesterday, we get news that there's this all-star legal team comprised of various legal eagles, mainly of color. From one lady is from the Ben Crump offices, right? The one gentleman is the Texas NAACP president, and he's also a doctor and he's also a lawyer. And then there's another guy that, I forgot what he does, but these are all oh yeah, he's like this hardcore civil rights attorney, and he's an appellate attorney too. So yeah, and then there's other people that are joining on, and it's all pro bono. It would be a shame. These people, they, in their mind, they would be a shame for them to take money for this case, because this case is such a clear-cut case of injustice. This is what's wrong with the system. And I believe in my heart of hearts that this needed to take place, because that was the only way that this evil, wicked system would ever get exposed. And I believe those are the people that are there to do it, which I'm glad. I'm glad. And in a week of bad news, that was a silver lining, to know that our young brother is not going to be forgotten. And they're going to fight for him, and they're going to do it for free, because they know now, don't get me wrong, they know when they appeal this case and they get this case overturned, their careers are going to be made. I'm talking about these people are going to be made, black folks and whoever is involved, all the folks involved, they're going to be made, right? Because this is This is our current day tragedy, our current day Emmett Till. This is the public execution of a black young man, not even a black man, but a black young man exercising his right to self-defense after being attacked, right? And I saw the video. They ran right up to the boy. They ran right up to him. Even in the altered video, they ran right up to him. So I know it's a polarizing issue. It truly is. And it should be, right? It should be. It very much should be. It should be polarizing. You should be on either side of this case. And depending on whatever people's response is about this case is determined on how I see you as a person, as a human being. That's what this case has done for me. It is a litmus test. It is the, what is that? The, you know, the feather, the heart versus the feather. I think that's Anubis, I think. But yeah, it's the heart versus the feather. And for me, because, you know, self-defense is not a crime. It's not. But yeah, that's the kick that we're on. And yeah, if you guys are in defense of that black young man, then we can be friends. But if you are in defense of these people that just wanted somebody to move up out of his seat because they said so, that's a no bueno. It's a no bueno. So we got to stand up for ourselves. Oh, there he goes. You got to stand up for yourself. And, you know, you got to stick up for yourself, no matter what that may cost, because don't let nobody run you like what's been happening in Alexandria. Don't let nobody tell you where to move and how to move. These people are trying to move y'all out of Alexandria. Don't y'all get it? They're trying to slowly but surely make Alexandria so uncomfortable that the majority of the black folks, they can get the majority, they can flip that majority in their favor. And they're almost there. They're almost there. They're almost there. I'm telling you, they're almost there. They're almost there, bro. And that's the realest thing I ever said on this show. The people are they're trying to get that 50%. They're trying to get that 51%. And they've been slowly but surely chopping down that 55% that we were. Slowly but surely. And then eventually they're going to get to it. Eventually it's going to be 50-50. But eventually it's going to be 49-51. And that's what they're waiting for. And I hope am I in agreement with that? Are we all in a alliance with that ideology? I don't want to be out here on my own with that thinking, but I know that that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, you said that 500 times. Okay, so that's what it feels like.
No, that's what it feels like.
Okay, sir. I you know what, now that Mr. Porter reminded us that they were talking about the sewage treatment plant. It sounds like they trying to create a St. George. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what I'm getting out of that.
Is that what you're getting out of that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it sounds like to you?
Yep, it sounds like a St. George. Because if you move everything out there, you got to remember water treatment and sewage is the major thing to build.
Well,
So what's the excuse? So the reason why they're saying it because it's overflowing into that Alexandria's system is overworking itself. Is that reason why they putting it out there?
Yeah, and since it's all the way over in District 3, where Tavares was describing it, everything from that side got to be pumped over to this side. And so there's lift stations, the pumping system, that's the issue. And plus that's where the growth is, right? That's where more and more homes are being built, apartment complexes are being built, things like that. So that's increasing the load. So the solution, which is practical and it makes sense, is rather than pump all of that over to an area that really can't handle all of that, build one over on that side. And you don't have to pump it across town, and you don't have to try and expand or overload the current one. So, it makes sense, but at the same time, when they get a new multi-million-dollar water system, water treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, and all these other things, yeah, they won't need to have anything to do with this side of Alexandria. Everything they'll have is new, updated, state of the art.
That would be my problem right there, because I'm not approving for anything new to get built until I clean up these issues that are already here. I'm not clearing anything new to be built until I clear up the issues that are prevalent now. And I don't know how we got here to where we're okay with this type of behavior from this administration, but here we are, right? He's throwing in your face that he can get these problems fixed fairly quickly if he wanted to. But, because he has to wait till the election season in order to hurry up and get these jobs done, that just shows you that you're being manipulated, right? Because these problems could have been fixed according to them. Because when they say speed and what they say, speed and what was it?
He said scale up and speed. Scaling up and speed.
Yeah, when they said scale and speed, they meant it. That's what he wrote on the paper, on the commercial, and he showed you where he's fixed all these parks in a matter of weeks.
Right. And could have done that, but it took 3.5 years to even get to that point.
Get to that part.
And the only reason that took place is because there's an election coming up. And he knows that he has neglected, has abandoned, has forsaken the Black neighborhoods in Alexandria, which is the majority of the city's population. But now, in these last couple of few weeks, now you have this flurry of activity and construction. You got 2 water pads, splash pads. You got a pickleball court, which we'll never be able to use. You got tennis courts that's being modified, upgraded, enhanced. And look, with this pickleball court, you already got the lights there. I didn't see any place for bleachers. I didn't see any restrooms, any water fountains, but there's these tall stanchions laying on the ground that will be the privacy fence. So you won't be able to see the people that's in there, but they got the lights there. So that tells me that we're going to see what's called mission creep or project creep, just like what we saw with Johnny Downs. Johnny Downs started off at $7.5 million, ended up over $11 million. Because then they came back, they added the walking trail, they added the coach's lounge, They added, they upgraded things. They added the solar panel charging stations. So that tells me that at this pickleball court, eventually you're going to have bleachers. You're going to have a restroom facility. You're going to have water fountains. You're going to have bleachers and awnings to keep you out of the sun. Shoot, they might even put a tarp over the top. But right now, that's not part of this, right? So that means this $1 million for the pickleball, that's not the end of that. We're going to see that go way up. And look, that's exactly what happened at the dog park, which is across the street, right? First, you just had the dog park. Then you had the little walking trail inside there. Then you had the benches. And then you had the little covering area to keep the dogs out of the shade and the little water baths and stuff like that. Before it was just a green space to let the dogs run around in. But now you got all this other stuff. Well, I expect the same thing to happen because we saw it happen with the dog park. We saw it happen with Johnny Downs. We will see that happen with the tennis court and the pickleball court. So this money they're talking about, that's not the total amount. It's going to increase from there.
Jesus. I can see it too. I can see it just like being like a gateway. But like it starts out real innocent, starts out with like a little $1 million investment. And then slowly but surely they shove it down your throat, pause, and it turns into like a $15 million investment over 3 years.
Another thing, keep in mind too, that area, they could gentrify that area around it.
Oh hell yeah! If you think that's not in the plans, that's definitely it. See, in the totality of things, now looking at it, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to move. They're trying to become the majority, and they've been working on it. They can do it through policing. They can do it through poor neighborhoods. They can do it through when they can do it through a coordinated effort with the school board. They could shut down schools in the community, and that'll drive up poverty. They could dry up it's the goal. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. It's literally their goal.
Because if you think about it, if you look at, they don't want to bring in the outside of Alexandria, that's surrounding areas. They don't want to bring them in, right? So if you're trying to put a concentrated effort in putting people all in the same area, sort of, even though they're mixed, not a lot of areas are not mixed. So you take and you build around them. Since we can't get what we want inside, we'll build around them. You understand what I'm saying? So if you look at District 4, if you look at that whole quote unquote Masonic corridor, those neighborhoods on the back end of Bolton and on the back end of the zoo, and then on the back end of the Adult Emporium, all those areas back along in there where the dog park and all those, if you notice, those areas are poor areas. So if we if we buy up all that on the in the big old circle around them on both ends, on both sides, and turn that into art, all we have to do, we want to, we in our nice little homes and we'll just skip over to the park, well, the kids, because it's a city park, so your kids have to mingle with my kids and play a little bit. We can go play tennis, right? We can go and play pickleball, those, of course we could do all that. Yeah. Also, most of Vance Avenue, you're right. You're so right, Mr. Scott. So if I if I can get people to actually invest in that, my people to invest in that, then you have a whole nother community inside of the Alexandria, while the other parts of Alexandria continues to get neglected. Because I guess for me, and I could be wrong, what I'm seeing is they don't really care about us. And I wish I could get more people to kind of put that in their mindset. And I'm not saying this to say it in a way that, okay, you shouldn't like them, but we need to understand that they're not caring about what we need. And we can scream to the top of our lungs. When a person's heart is heartened, like, it's not about what we need. Okay? It's about as long as what our needs don't interfere with what they want. So that's the dynamics we're dealing with when you look at Alexandria. It's not about us at all. It's a good fight. I'm not telling us not to fight, but you got to get people in offices and positions that say, you know what? Yeah, we've been doing this too long. We need to change it up a little. Till you get those people in there that can shake them a little bit, we're going to watch them build around us, build out by District 5, build out District 4. All of that, you're going to see that. And we're going to be in the middle still scrambling, hollering and screaming, fighting, beating up on each other, the whole 9 yards, while they're living their whole life like you don't even exist. Because if you look at it, this is what they're doing. They've already been doing it. That's why they build out at District 5. Look, they don't even have to come into, they got it to where a lot of people don't even have to come into Alexandria for anything. So they don't come into contact with you unless they work there, they got a business there. Other than that, they don't have to interact with you at all. And they like it like that. So that's what we have to get to understand. They don't care about your discomfort. All you do is complain. That is their mindset about you. So that hardens their heart toward whether or not you need anything, whether or not you deserve equality when it comes to housing, when it comes to economics. That's what we as Black people got to get in our heads. And I'm not telling you to settle with that, but as long as you got a clear understanding of what is really happening and understand why they're doing what they do. You don't have to get involved in it. Just understand why they're doing it and keep moving and keep striving and doing what you got to do. Because if you know how your oppressor and your enemy works, you'll learn how to work around them. You'll learn how to do what you got to do and keep your head up. Because if we continue to try to beg them to see what we're going through, I just don't see it happening. I think I don't see it happening unless there is a real effort of somebody actually saying, you know what? Yeah, we've been doing this a long time. Let's stop treating them like this. But until then, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my analysis on it.
I got something for you. You familiar with this documentary called Still a Brother? It's an old documentary. And I want you to listen to it.
I don't think of myself as being a Negro. Never until recently have I really been concerned that I am a Negro. I thought all the while that I was an American. I have empathy for my people, but yet in my middle class value, I still kind of think of them as those people. And I'm aware of it. And I think a lot of people in my particular class, if you will, is aware of it, but we're reluctant. We are just imbued with this white middle class value where we think white.
This clip is from a 1968 documentary called Still a Brother, Inside the Negro Middle Class, produced by NET, the National Educational Television Network, which eventually became PBS. The film was looking at a part of Black America that didn't get talked about much back then, the Black middle class. And what this man is doing right here is saying out loud what most people in his position never admitted. He's a Black professional, educated, integrated into mainstream American life, and he's realizing that the system got inside his head, that he'd spent most of his life seeing himself and his own people through a white lens, and was only now starting to reckon with what that meant. This wasn't just about money or poverty. It was about identity and how a society can condition you to measure yourself by someone else's standard without you even realizing it.
For some reason or the other, I never associated myself with the welfare recipient, the unemployed person. And now I realize that these are my people, that I should be able to do something for them or with them, but yet I haven't. So that, I think, is where the guilt comes in. So I take the position that these people have been denied, and I continue to say these people. Notice that. I continue to say these people. And like I'm not one of them, when in fact I am one of them. I take the position now that I should help. I should do what I can. I have begun to protest. I will now picket. I will now speak out with my white counterpart about the injustices that have occurred to my people, when before, say, 15 years ago, I kind of behaved like it didn't exist. But now when I read, when it's brought to the front about housing and about job discrimination, I realize now that this did exist when I was younger, but I was just oblivious to it. I didn't think as a Negro. But now I'm thinking as a Negro. And I think more people in my group are thinking as Negro.
Is that heavy or what?
Well, you know, they had what you call passing. Passing went on for years. There's a lot of people that to this day, a lot of people went to their graves passing.
Yeah, but he couldn't pass. But you know what? To me, there was so much. That was a crock, a whole lot of malarkey. Because look, that was filmed in '68. He's talking about 15 years prior to that. Now, a Black middle class prior to the '60s, where was he going to get a job in a corporation? Where was he going to live? How could he insulate himself from other Blacks? We live in what is now a historic community called Pontchartrain Park in New Orleans. It, from the very beginning, it was developed as a Black neighborhood to keep the Blacks from moving into white neighborhoods. Okay. You had all of these soldiers coming back from World War II. They were eligible for the VA, the GI Bill and the VA loans to buy homes. And they didn't want these people moving their families into white neighborhoods. So in New Orleans, they created a neighborhood just for Blacks. Now, we had doctors, lawyers, we had all the professional people there, but we also had the carpenters, masons, plumbers, the people that worked for the city on a sanitation truck. We had all of us in the same neighborhood. So there's no way in the world, even if you was working as a doctor, as a pharmacist, as a nurse, as a teacher, whatever, if it was professional, or if you were working as a welder and you were making a lot of money and you were now in the middle class, you still couldn't go live in those white neighborhoods. So you were always among your people. And in our neighborhoods, we had people that was on subsistence, that would go to get the commodity food, the government issued food. I mean, so you had a doctor that lived down the street, and half a block down, you had a family of 6 that relied on commodity, to feed their family. I mean, we had all spectrums of the socio-economic classes all in one neighborhood. And I'm trying to figure out where in these United States back in the 50s he could have grown up to where he really didn't think of himself as being black, and he was looking at everything through the lens of white people. I don't know where that place existed in the United States. Not back then.
He said it was a publicity stunt.
I just think that's a whole bunch of crap. You would have to show me what community he grew up in like that.
It didn't exist. I want to say.
Yeah, and then somewhere along the line, he recognized one day, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm black.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm quite sure he got called the N-word a couple times.
Numerous times.
Yeah, that's why he realized he was black.
I didn't realize there was discrimination in housing, in hiring practices, what restaurants you could go to, what stores you could shop at. Shoot, you couldn't even try on shoes or a hat if you were black.
You couldn't come through the front door either.
Right. So this is, I don't know. No, I have never seen that documentary, but I'm telling you, we're talking about my generation. I don't know where in these United States, even if you went up north, where he could have been so insulated and isolated from the black community to where he didn't really think of himself as being black. He only thought of himself as being an American,
Yeah, well, that's what he said.
I don't think that plays.
Some people say that now too. The ones who are in denial. Some people say that. I don't see what that has nothing to do with I'm an American. I'm an American. Okay.
Okay, American. Look.
I found this on one of our watermelons in the store. I just grabbed a random one, hoping to give it as a gift. But didn't notice it until I got out of the truck. Somebody carved this on a watermelon of mine, came onto my property and carved this.
Go with me. Whenever Black people prosper or find joy, this white supremacist country will never fail to try and devalue the thing, while simultaneously trying to benefit from said thing. Black women are curvy, and for years, the white standard was to not have a big butt. We see how that turned out. We get discriminated against because of the color of our skin, but y'all stay in the tanning booth trying to get brown so you can say, I'm going to be as brown as you this summer. We have to fight for the Crown Act so we can wear our hair at work the way it grows out of our head or in locks or in braids. And you get Bo Derek braids on a Carnival cruise. Okay. The watermelon is no different. Whoever chose to carve the N-word into a watermelon did so because of the trope around Black people eating watermelon and being jigaboos. But did you know watermelon made Black people rich? After emancipation, watermelon was one of the first things that farmers started to grow. And they got really good at it. They got profitable at it. And just like Black Wall Street in Tulsa and Seneca Village, here come white people ruining a good thing. All of a sudden, it's shameful for Black people to eat watermelon. They even made advertisements trying to shame Black people for selling and eating watermelon because Black success and Black joy is literally a threat to their program. That's why we gatekeeping over here. No, you are no longer invited to the cookout. I am not celebrating you doing the Dougie, but I'm also not canceling the cookout. I'm not going to stop eating watermelon or fried chicken because you will not shame me into giving up my culture. You just can't sit with us. Get over it. Atlanta Harvest, keep doing what you're doing. Your community needs you. And my husband about to cut the watermelon we just bought from y'all tomorrow. Y'all tell me what you think.
They did say that the reason why they made the watermelon trope about Black folks is because it came to a point where we were making money off of them buying watermelons from us because they couldn't figure out how we were doing it. Which goes back to, how can you call these slave owners planters in history now when they can't even plant watermelons? They weren't planters, they were slave owners.
I don't understand where planters came from, because they weren't planters.
They can't plant watermelon.
They weren't planters. The slaves were doing all the agricultural work. They were just benefiting from it. So I never could understand where the planter. When I saw that, I was like, when did they start calling slave masters planters? I never knew that till we started talking about it on the show. Because I had never heard of that. I've always known them to be slave masters. It was to not to make it sound so vicious, because you relate slave masters to all the atrocities they did to slaves. So to soften it up, that's where planters came from, I guess.
I guess. So check this out. Check this out.
Hand on me.
Back up. We're done talking. I got a job to do.
This
Back
is
up.
my property.
I don't care. Back
You don't
up.
care about
Back
getting my
up.
property?
You are going to go to jail if you don't back
I
up.
give a damn about going to jail. Who the hell do you think you're talking to, man?
I'm talking to you.
You can't be talking to me.
Watch how these cops get instant karma after arresting this mysterious man who was on a direct call with the mayor, listening to their every single word.
We're not blocking anything. We're on our property. Go stand in front of my car.
I'm not going there.
You're going to go in cuffs if you don't back up. I'm giving you 1 second. 1 second, go. Turn around. You can go in cuffs. You can go in cuffs.
What is going on? Chief is calling me on the way here. I can't answer because I'm running coach. I just got on scene out here. Apparently, Senator Bill Walker, they've got in a vehicle. Take Walker out of cuffs immediately.
Why? I'm not taking nobody out of cuffs.
I just gave you a direct order to take him out. It's already been to the mayor's office.
He called the mayor direct?
Yeah, Chief's been on the phone with both of us already.
Chief Mayor, us?
Ooh. Wow.
To a senator.
Wow.
They didn't know and they didn't care.
He said he didn't care. I'm not taking him out of nothing. You heard what he said? And he walked away from her. And she said, that's a direct order.
It came from the mayor. Maybe that's why they don't want certain people being mayor. Because they know good damn well that they would be able to get away with a lot of what they get away with.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder if he got fired, because there's no way he didn't.
Definitely got fired. He definitely got fired. That's a guarantee. Hold on. They're doing this at the cookout for Juneteenth.
Don't need a check to be my check.
If you thought that was racist, then you the problem.
Don't need a check to be my check.
If you thought that was racist, then you the problem.
Don't need a check.
Now I gotta say, those kids are beating the hell out that Klansman. But if you think that's racist, then you're probably the problem. It's not racist, guys. That's not racist. That's acceptable. That's acceptable. But only at the cookout. Only at the cookout. Sorry if I put anybody at risk. I should have put a trigger warning on that.
So planters were only referred to the slave owners who owned 20 or more slaves. Again, they still own slaves and they didn't do none of the planting.
Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Here we go. Because see, what I've been studying is the epidemic, and this is the only thing that's really got me out of my skin. The epidemic of the coon, right? And I don't know where these new class of coons are coming from, but it's like coon 2.0. And they're bypassing the Byron Donalds. They're superseding like all these other people that we thought were coons before, and it's just watch this.
Jake Lang only said words.
I don't know where they found this dude, bro.
Okay, so look, this is almost all my weight. Philip, can you breathe?
I can breathe.
You can breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hello, Steven, my boy. Yeah. Can you still breathe?
Yes, I can still breathe.
Okay, that is a fallacy. Steven, this here is Django. We ought to hate each other.
Where they found this dude, but I have never seen this level of pandering. You know, if this was back in the 1800s, I would definitely be a field type guy.
You guys are real fucking assholes, you know that? Come on, man, look on the bright side. You get to hang out in the field with the real niggas.
Damn! Now that we know that Jake Lane's bond is
$1 million. 4 times more for Jake Lane for saying words. That is ridiculous. Keep in mind, the people who are at Carmelo Anthony's sentencing, they assaulted me.
damn.
None of them were arrested. Jake Lane was arrested before his feet even touched the Texas soil. This is what they're feeding him every single day. They're starving Jake Lane in solitary confinement. All he has is 5 to 10 ounces of peanut butter every day to eat. He literally called us on the phone saying that he was starving.
Sensational.
Was playing Xbox at his home.
Nah, my boy, y'all little punk.
Damn.
And he's starving in solitary confinement. Didn't harm anyone, just said some words.
We already know you be in the house. You can't make this up. And that's why we keep making this content. Like, what is it about Chud the Thug and his followers that they love disrespecting courtrooms? And now they need 2 M's to come on.
Get him out of here! He's got AIDS!
If you guys didn't know, Jake Lang is one of the January 6ers that was pardoned and has been a white supremacist, public nuisance, far white ring, goiper, nut job ever since. Every bit of what you think a rioter would be. And so during the Carmelo Anthony trial, he comes down to the courthouse because he wants to wave a sign about how black people should be hanged, and so the most whatever he wants to say, he says it. And he says it about black folks. And I guess he said the fact that if Carmelo walks free, he should be hanged from it'll be street justice, they'll hang him from a tree, etc., etc. So I don't know. He's sitting in jail on $1 million. And that's that. And he got arrested, and that's where he is right now, ironically. If you guys don't know about the Chud the Builder thing, Chud the Builder is stuck in jail because he shot a black man because that's what he wanted to do. That's what he set out to do. That was his intention. And he got arrested for doing such. And while doing such, he ended up shooting himself. So now he's been locked up, and they're not letting him out anytime soon. So I don't know what this obsession is with people trying to taunt black people or trying to incite us into anger. It's not working. It's never going to work again. When it's time for us to kick up dust, you'll know. Everybody will know. But right now, we are becoming the wider swath of us are becoming more intellectually strengthened. We are raising our vibrations by raising our intellect and research and becoming more intelligent about topics that's how you raise your vibration. You stay aware of things that others may not be aware of. And that's what we do here. That's what this show is all about. Some hard truths, but at the end of it, your vibrations will be higher because you can operate fully knowing the truth. And that's important. I got a few more. Let's see. Oh yeah, hold on. This one. Hold on.
Even in the face of technological revolution, white people will still be racist. We will train these bots to hate black people too.
Right.
That is insane, bro.
That is sick.
Toni Morrison said that racism is just more than anything, it's exhausting and it's a waste of time. And that is what it is. Because you have companies out here that could be thriving. You have black people, I think black women specifically, are out of 300,000 jobs. The unemployment percentage has went up 7% for black people in general due to discriminatory practices and racism by using AI, via AI. You got people out here like thinking that they're doing something wrong. And it's not, oh, we just gonna read your name. You know, they probably have a database of names that they if it ain't these names, throw it out.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, the identity thing, you're going to identify yourself as black. And if you do, it's probably getting thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using AI to scan all these things and to be discriminatory against black applicants, where it's like, now we're talking about the most educated group of people by race and gender in this country can't find employment because you have trained the robots to be racist.
Is that what's happening?
Oh, yeah. With that Doge nonsense Elon Musk did with the federal government and what Donald Trump did with trying to reverse DEI, there were about 315,000 black women that no longer work for the federal government. These, a lot of these women had been on a job for many years. They were highly skilled, had a high level of education, and they were the breadwinners for their families. And through them, their families got health care and everything else, you know. And now they're out of jobs. Some of them were able to retire, but most of them, they lost their job, lost their seniority, you know, lost their high salaries, and that was all because of you know, racism, essentially, from Elon Musk and Doge and Donald Trump in reversing DEI. And the sad thing about it, some of these women in federal government had been working there 30 years and they just moved up through seniority. So it's not like they got a job before a white person, or they leapfrogged a white person to get to that level, that position. No, they went through there until eventually they were the next one seniority wise, and met all the competencies and was qualified for the job and doing the job very proficiently. But yet all of them lost their jobs. So, yeah, it's pretty bad, pretty bad.
Hold on. No, I can't do that. Let's see. I wanted to give because we've been talking about a lot of stuff. And I kind of wanted to give context to everything before we got out. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. All right, for those of you that haven't been keeping up with the story, this is Jeff Metcalf. This is the father of the kid that I was talking about earlier who got himself killed by trying to assault Carmelo Anthony. This is the father, right? And we're talking about exactly what Mr. Porter just got done talking about, right? This is the problem with Jeff Metcalf that they're having is Jeff is letting you guys know what majority of white America thinks. That's what he's doing. He's letting you know what majority of white America thinks. So that's why I use him as a guide stone.
I was hoping we could show the world this wasn't a racial divide thing, that we could kind of close the gap instead of widening it. But at that point, they'd obviously retained the services of Dominic Alexander, a convicted baby-shaking felon advocate who decided to throw me out of the press conference, had me removed by police, and then proceeded to gaslight me and tell me how I was such, I can't remember the word he used, but that I shouldn't have been there, and it was not dignified to my son or myself, which I really couldn't quite understand as they proceeded to gaslight me. And also took it, there was a young lady who has followed the case also from the entire time. Her name is Sarah Fields. Also showed information about her. That's when they took it from any type of remorse, which they did not show, to the fact of now we're going to play the race card. And now we're going to politicize this. Now we're getting a political activist involved. The two things I said on one of the first interviews I ever did was, please don't make this about race and please don't politicize it. But they chose to do both.
And your goal that day was to simply get together and pray?
All I wanted, yeah. I was actually hoping to show them, hey, look, man, I know what happened was terrible. And your son made a horrible mistake. I was hoping for some accountability maybe and some remorse. Neither one was shown.
Have you ever spoken to the Anthonys?
No.
No apology, no remorse?
Nothing.
You were telling me you were inside the courtroom, quite obviously. After the verdict, the Anthonys left.
Now, mind you, this is the guy that did the original interview with the mom and the son, right? So,
where the son told on himself, is that the one you're talking about? Okay.
Yes. This was the same guy. This is the guy they send in to play act. This is all about inciting black folks, right? Because underneath all of this rhetoric that he's spewing, right, is a disdain for black people, right? And he's using this to express his disdain because now he feels he's justified in talking shit about black folks. And because people won't platform him and Sarah Fields, he thought that while he had the platform, he'd mention her. Sarah Fields is a trash journalist. She's slop. But what she did this whole time was play into the fact that Austin and Hunter were the innocent ones. And that's why he gave her a shout out. Now, we can keep going.
They weren't there for Carmelo's sentencing.
That is correct. They weren't there for the sentencing, and they were not there for victim impact statements. They left that poor child up there by himself. As soon as the verdict was read, he was guilty. His family and some other advocates left the courtroom and turned in their badges.
Wait. So we got to talk about more fallout as a result of the Carmelo Anthony trial and verdict. Okay, the outrage over this from the pro.
Mind you, we're watching a coon. I just want y'all to keep that in mind. As you can see, it says Black Conservative Perspective. These Black conservatives are blagga. They're Black MAGA. They like to mask themselves under Black conservatives or conservative Democrats, but most of them are blacker, right? And this guy's definitely one. I'm not even gonna give him the air. I don't want to give him the air. That was enough. Yeah. So that's what's going on. I'll give more updates as they come. As I told you, he's got a great legal team, and I'm impressed that they all came together. They all came together like that, and I would hope that. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I got one more, and I'll let everybody go.
So we didn't get a chance to finish the debate.
We'll finish the debate on Thursday's show. I thought I'd give it some air.
There are new developments in the case of Carmelo Anthony, who was sentenced to 35 years behind bars for the murder of Austin Metcalf.
Yes, tonight a high-profile legal team announced they will be representing Anthony. NBC5's Ali Spilliards is live with the latest on this. Now, Ali, what does this mean for the next phase of this case?
Well, Brian and Brittany, this comes less than 2 weeks after Carmelo Anthony filed a pauper oath, basically a request to the court for an attorney saying he could no longer afford one. That came the same day that he filed a motion saying he intends to appeal his conviction. This team of 6 prominent Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin-based lawyers say they're coming together to represent Anthony pro bono. The team's headed by former Dallas County prosecutor Russell Wilson. It also includes Michael Ware, the director of the Innocence Project of Texas, and president of the Texas NAACP, Gary Bledsoe. Despite numerous requests, the team told us they are holding off on interviews for now, but they did release a statement saying, in part, we recognize the profound loss suffered by one young man's family and the uncertainty facing another. Our responsibility is to determine whether a legal error occurred and to ensure that every issue supported by the record is fully and vigorously presented on appeal. A couple of weeks ago, one of the attorneys now representing Anthony told me that this process takes time. He said an appeal likely wouldn't reach the 5th District Court of Appeals until the end of the year. If they have to move to the state or federal level, that could take even longer.
So, yeah. So he's got this crack. I mean, it's probably one of the best legal teams I've seen assembled, and that was just 3 of them. That didn't even mention the young lady that's from Ben Crump's attorney's office. So Ben Crump has representation there. The appeal, I don't think they're going to lose the appeal. I know they're not going to lose the appeal. You know, and the fact remains that this young man was assaulted, and this young man defended himself, and he's going to be coming home because of American hatred, because of good old-fashioned American hatred. American racism is why he's coming home. When they went in there and they tried to railroad that young man, that was the court system exposing and espousing and exampling flexing all of its racist muscles. And it had to convict him, because that's the only thing that convicted Carmelo Anthony is American racism. And now that it's being exposed, I'm so happy. Because we needed something to show the world how unfair and unjust Black people get treated in this country. We get set up, we get provoked, we get gaslit. Then when we react, they want to sentence us to basically adult life in prison. So that was the silver lining in this week's intake of energies. This was the silver lining, knowing that the young man will be coming home and that they're doing it pro bono. That's crazy. That's insane that they're doing it pro bono. And now there's nothing that nobody can say because, nobody has to worry about raising money for the legal team, because that was a big point of contention. They didn't like the fact that this black family raised $600,000, not $1 million, $600,000 for Carmelo's legal defense, right? They were upset about that. Meanwhile, that white lady called that baby a nigger and they gave her $1 million. Meanwhile, this online casino is willing to back and get Chud the Builder out of jail. They're willing to spend $1 million to get him out of jail. But the court just said no. But they were willing to spend $1 million. There's corporations willing to do what black people got together and did. And they're mad about that. So they went after the Gibson Gold money. And so I'm glad that these lawyers are doing this pro bono because now they can't, now this is really about justice. This ain't about how much money you got. This is about justice. And so the young man will be coming home. That is my strongest belief. But that's all I got, folks. Does anybody got anything else? Mr. Porter said no.
No.
Ms. McCall?
I said no. I'm good.
Oh, man, hold on. I had it on mute. Say it again. Everybody say it again. Mr. Porter, what'd you say?
Yeah, nothing more to add. So
nothing more. I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Well, just know that there's people out here that are willing to lie to you, and don't let none of the people lie to you. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them lie to you. That young man was assaulted. And he defended himself. But anyway, we'll get back to work on the rest of that realtors debate. We'll get back to work on that Thursday show, and we'll start there. But in the meantime, in between time, good night, folks. Oh wait, you got to read the list.
Give me a second.
She probably can't read.
Okay. We have here Latasha. Hello, Miss Latasha. How are you feeling? We got Miss Jackson. We had Mr. Scott. Happy birthday, Miss Powell. Mr. Turner came in. Let's see who else came in. Okay. Mr. Brown. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Miss Bell. Hello, Miss Bell. Thank you. And Miss Adrian. Hello, Miss Adrian and Miss Colson. I hope more emphasis is put on why he was under the tent. She said she hoped there'd be more emphasis on why he was under the tent.
Who said that?
That's what Miss Colson said.
Oh, because he was invited.
Yeah. He was invited by one of the boys who tried to jump him.
His homeboy, who ended up not being his homeboy, a guy named Eddie Parra. They call him EP. So EP was already under the tent. And so he called Carmelo to come sit under the tent because they're friends, right? And EP got up on the stand and acted like they weren't friends until the defense pulled out pictures of these two guys hanging out. They were, I assume that EP was Carmelo's very first friend, and EP just turned his back on him on the stand, and the weather was bad, and he was seeking shelter. All of those things. But no more than that, he was legally allowed to be there. He was lawfully allowed to be there. So it's not like they owned the bleachers. And it's not even like they owned the tent. They didn't own anything there. So those kids just didn't have a right to tell them to get up and move. And the fact that they did and it ended up like this should let people know that you got to stop. You got to leave people alone, man. You got to leave people alone, man. But
I think it's okay, real quick, y'all. So I want somebody to answer me this real quick. Do you guys think that there's a sickness with people who just have to mess with us? Do y'all think that is there? Y'all think it's a sickness?
I think that people have. I think that I mean, you could describe it as a sickness, but I just describe it as a habit. And old habits die hard. And they are not willing to let that one go. They love that one. The one where they just control and manipulate and tell black folks what to do. They love that one. They won't let that one go for nothing in the world. They love it here. They love it here. It's exciting here. I get to do whatever I want to black people. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a malfunction of the mental capacity of kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's
a state of mind. Because it's so weird that we don't bother them. We just try to live our lives. That's all. We just trying to live our lives.
Well, it's an obsession. They used to eat us.
I know you keep saying that.
They used to eat us. They did. They used to eat us. And so it's literally an obsession. It's like, you know, the wolf falling around the sheep with his look at his chops all the time. You know what I mean? It's like a vampire that can't reveal he's a vampire yet. He just follows you around looking all creepy, waiting for the right time to strike. That's what they remind me of. Sometimes.
Okay. So we were on the brinks of saying goodnight. I'm sorry, and I'm adding Miss Jacobs and Miss Colson in there. Also,
I like answering questions, especially about this case. But yeah, and it translates. That's what I'm trying to say. It translates. It translates into our politics, into our economics. This isn't just a one-off. This is what they're used to doing. They're used to assaulting you. They're used to turning themselves into the victim. They're used to all this. This is their calling card. And we always end up paying the price for shit that they do. And so in order to stop doing that, you got to stand up. You got to stand up. No man can ride your back unless it's bent. You know what I mean? You got to stand up, you know? And that's what we're trying to get y'all to do. We're trying to get y'all to stand up and see, just to look over the fence and finally see what the neighbors are doing. It's a meth lab. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, stand up. If anybody else got any other parting words? No. Right.
Don't forget to vote this week. Saturday. The ones who didn't early vote, don't forget to vote. Come June 26th, right? Am I right? 27th? What day?
27.
What? The 27th.
Yeah. And Mr. Porter, one more time, what are we voting on?
So I am recommending you vote for, if you're Democrat, to vote for Jamie Davis for U.S. Senator. And I'm recommending that everybody vote down the 4 tax propositions and bring them to the table to talk to us, the citizens, about how they're going to manage this money going forward. Because if we approve it, the sheriff's proposition is for 15 years. So we don't get a chance to revisit that for 15 years. And with the school board, it would be another 10 years. So we have to understand how they're going to make up the shortfall from the federal Department of Education that Donald Trump pretty much gutted, and Jeff Landry, trying to follow in the footsteps of Donald Trump, reduced funding from the Louisiana Department of Education. So, and then they're trying to push the teacher stipends down to the parish level. So you're going to have more costs and less money. So you know what that means. Our schools are going to suffer. They're going to lose staff. They're going to lose services. They're going to lose all sorts of things. So we have to be ready for that. So I'm suggesting vote no on all four and bring them to the table, and let's talk and let's see exactly where that money's going to go.
All right. So that puts a cap on the evening. If you haven't voted, that's what you're voting for. That's what you're voting on. And make sure that you get to those polls, because that's important. Stay tuned, because as of right now, there's only one person that has inserted themselves into the mayor's race. So we're gonna slow pace ourselves through whoever, and we're gonna make sure that we are standing up and making the right choice, because that's gonna be important it's gonna be critical to the future of the Black people in Alexandria. So, all right.
I have one more thing. I need you guys to stay away from that reflecting pool, okay? They're arresting people.
I thought it was because of the toxicity. All right, well.
Crime going up, water look brown. Bills too high, got the whole town down. Stand up, put your hands up. If you love your city, better man up. For the kid, for the elders too. If nobody else care, then it's up to you. Hey. Alexandria, we still here.